Hello there. Before Northern Ireland celebrates 25 years of the peace agreement, the dispute over border checks that has been smoldering since Brexit should finally be resolved. But how? Northern Ireland is looking forward to big celebrations next year because 25 years ago, on April 10th, 1998, after years of civil war, a peace agreement was signed, the Good Friday Agreement. Both parties to the conflict, the British Protestant Unionists and the Irish Catholic Nationalists, made major concessions. The border between the Republic of Ireland and the British controlled Northern Ireland has been peaceful ever since, and the parts of the country have grown together. Along with representatives from the United Kingdom, the Republic of Ireland, and the EU, US President Joe Biden is expected to attend the anniversary. But before that, a solution to the controversial Northern Ireland Protocol dispute must be found. The American government has made this a requirement. If it were that easy. There has been a dispute over this since Great Britain and the EU signed the Northern Ireland Protocol as an annex to the withdrawal agreement. And former Prime Minister Boris Johnson had promised the Protestant Unionists, above all the Northern Irish Party DUP, that there would be no customs and regulatory border between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. Just another Boris Johnson lie. He needed the DUP's approval of the Northern Ireland Protocol in Parliament. At the last moment, however, Johnson agreed with the EU on exactly this. In order to avoid border checks between the North and the rest of the Emerald Isle, they would continue to belong to the internal market, follow the relevant EU regulations, and thus effectively remain in the goods traffic of the EU customs union. And this still has serious economic and political consequences today. The customs and regulatory border that now runs between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK is disrupting some trade. Contrary to what Johnson claimed in 2019 to entrepreneurs, customs and export documents are necessary in trade and corresponding good checks, especially if the goods are to be resold from Great Britain via Northern Ireland to the Republic of Ireland, and that means to the EU. The EU has met Britain with compromise proposals, which Johnson has largely ignored for domestic reasons, because the DUP insists that the Northern Ireland Protocol must be completely overturned, which is unrealistic. The British government therefore drafted a law that would give the British government the power to overturn parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol, but in breach of international law, by the way. The bill is currently being debated in the House of Lords, and the EU threatens, if the law is passed and applied, compromises and negotiations would be over. According to diplomatic circles, the first steps towards a trade war would then be taken. The new customs and regulatory border has led to a shift in trade. Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland work more closely together. According to Ireland's Central Statistics Office, since 2019, the proportion of imports Ireland gets from Northern Ireland, rather than the UK, has risen from 10 to 16% and exports from 16 to 20%. On the other hand, trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland on the one hand and Great Britain and the Republic of Ireland on the other is definitely declining. However, exports from Northern Ireland to Great Britain have fallen the most. Since 2016, the year of the Brexit vote, by more than 20%. The import is stagnating, according to data from the Northern Ireland Statistics Office NISRA. Since Brexit, many international, including British companies that want to be part of the EU internal market, have settled in the Republic of Ireland. According to Kieran Donoghue from the Irish business development agency IDA, there are several reasons for this. Companies are looking for the same regulatory environment as in the EU, the English language, Anglo-Saxon law, but also proximity to EU customers. The developments annoy the Northern Irish Unionists who value the proximity to the United Kingdom. In their view, the Northern Ireland Protocol violates the Good Friday Agreement, which established Northern Ireland's seamless affiliation with Great Britain. But it's bollocks. The Irish sea border now separates Northern Ireland from Great Britain and disrupts trade in small pieces, and it's only a goods border. In protest, the DUP refuses to participate in the government in Northern Ireland. And of course, they certainly do not want to allow their bitter opponent and winner of the last election, Sinn Féin, to provide Michelle O'Neill as First Minister. A compromise on the Northern Ireland Protocol has been prevented for 2 years, and that by the Brexit hardliners in the London government and in the Conservative group. They insist that the European Court of Justice should not play a role in the matter, not even to settle disputes. Hardline advocates also insist that there should be dual regulation in Northern Ireland, one by the EU and one by the UK. At the same time, checks on goods that are not resold in the Republic should be completely dispensed with. All of this is hardly acceptable to the EU, although they made a lot of offers there. So far, the differences between the EU and London could not be bridged. With Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, a more pragmatic politician, is at the helm in London, but he too is dependent on the hardliners in the faction. On the Irish side, Leo Varadkar has been Prime Minister again for a week. He has experience from the times of the negotiations with Great Britain about the Brexit exit agreement and the trade agreement. They and the EU now have a few months to find a compromise so that a trade conflict is not imminent just in time for the anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. And just to stress that once more, the EU, a long time ago, made offers within the protocol to reduce 80% of the checks for the goods that are coming from the rest of the UK to Northern Ireland. But the British just rejected them without even commenting. They just rejected them, and that is all on domestic politics. It's not about details of the protocol. It's not about anything that for the people of Northern Ireland, because the people of Northern Ireland are very happy with this protocol. They have the best of both worlds now. They are not suffering from Brexit like the rest of the UK does. They are still in the EU single market and the customs union, and they are thriving. Northern Ireland is having a very good time compared to the rest of the UK. But for domestic reasons, those Tories will continue to use this protocol as kind of a hostage situation. I hope the pressure from the United States president will help getting closer to April, but I wouldn't count on a solution until then. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.